As we go live right now, the show just begun. And just like that,
Like
LT
that. Mm.
are back again.
We back.
What's up
Action
with it?
weekend.
Oh yeah.
What's up with it?
What up? What up? Fight hangovers.
Oh yeah.
Oh yeah, like true hangovers. Fight kind of like two different disciplines, kind of like coexisted in the same space in Vegas. So it was a long, long evening for fight lovers. So I kind of
Oh,
slept really late.
I did take a midday nap, so I was game.
Nice.
There's no naps over here right now.
Yeah, you sleep when the baby sleep.
Look, man, I'm working.
Yeah, I don't miss those days. I'll tell you.
Hey, I'm with it though. I'm with it. I'm built for this.
So LT,
Yes, sir.
Kam Gee, how do you wanna do this? Do we start with the main card, the main event, or should we start with the lead up to the main event? What do you think?
Come on, everybody want to talk about it. Let's go.
Let's talk about it. Let's talk about it then. All right. I think this is becoming a Canelo Alvarez show.
It feels like it, right?
This is who's fighting Canelo Alvarez. It's becoming a Canelo Alvarez fighting show. So, but anyways,
we got to. He got all the steam right now, so it is what it is. We just got to handle it accordingly, So.
And he keep getting the big nights. The big nights. Everybody's out, celebrating his career at this point, because expected outcome, but we still got an high entertainment value from him still. So
I don't know who the artist. I don't know who the artist was that was performing for Berlanga, but we got Fat Joe, we got
and you called it.
We got the Terror Squad walkout. I mean, so
right. That's cold blooded, man. He called that, man.
He called that.
Yeah. That's my man knows something.
Hey, just a little something, but
right.
But let's dive into the fight, fellas. Mm-hmm. Was the expectation? Did it meet the outcome?
You know what? I'll start. I was underwhelmed. It didn't meet my expectations, honestly. I expected a slightly better performance from Berlanga. I expected him to put up a bigger fight. I didn't see that. He was on his bike. He let Canelo push him into the corner, and he let Canelo establish the pace and the distance from the get-go, and I was just disappointed. I mean, I felt like Berlanga's the bigger man. He probably rightfully should be fighting at 75 instead of 68, and he didn't establish himself as the bigger man. He didn't use his range. I felt like he's a little bit rangier, and he didn't use it to the advantage. And so we had the single most dominant performance since Chavez Jr. So
according to the scorecards,
that fight, it was so one-sided. It was so one-sided. I'm like, this dude don't belong in the same ring. Well, I remember that fight. That was like
he never did it. Oh, it's about Chavez.
Yeah, Chavez, like Junior, that was. I don't know how that happened.
To tell you, if there was one round that Berlanga could have won, it was the 6th round. He could have won the 6th round. But I don't think in my opinion, he didn't win any round. So that's just.
Yeah. I mean, watching the fight, you really see how Berlanga, I didn't really know what his game plan was. Going into the corner against Canelo is crazy to me. Like, if you stand any chance it's going to be in the center of the ring, which you being the bigger man, I feel like at some skill level, you should be able to hold the center of the ring, but he was constantly on his back foot, which makes me think, like, how strong is Canelo? Like, are these body shots so strong that in your mind you're like, I gotta step away from this. I gotta step away from this because you see it happen in a lot of these fights, and I really thought, I'm watching the fight. I thought Berlanga could have put up a much better performance than what he did. I thought the 12th round he kind of clipped him at the end, kind of wobbled him a little bit. I'm like, so it just made you feel like you were kind of cheated. Like, dang, I really could have got something out of this, and I didn't. As far as like LT saying like being underwhelmed. I mean, yeah. And then you fought right after Lara and Garcia, so.
And NyQuil, like
it was kind of getting blues fest,
Strap, what you got to say?
I'll say this: did it meet the expectation? If we revisit, I wish I had a way to go back to the old clips. I did say this. I said, this is Berlanga's chance to be a big money fighter because he won the lottery. He was picked to fight this cash cow in Canelo, who is bowing out. He's doing his Kobe tour, I think. Farewell tour, and he's giving everybody a chance. Like Mayweather did that for Andre Bardo. He did that for a couple of fighters before Mayweather said, "I'm done," right? And then
he did him a solid.
Yeah, he did that. He did that for McGregor. Mayweather did that for a couple of people while he was, done, right?
Yeah.
And I feel like Canelo's doing this. I kind of feel like Canelo is getting to that point where he's on the other side of the hill, right? And he pulled out a young fighter, 17 TKOs from, I don't want to say the Bronx, New York.
Brooklyn,
Brooklyn. Okay, Brooklyn. My bad. People from New York. But the way the fighter took that chance, there was a lot of respect. Meaning he didn't fight him like LT had said, and I think Kam Gee also revised this. You're the bigger fighter. I didn't see that jab work. And also Canelo made Berlanga look like he's fighting a hologram. He could not touch Canelo. Like I would see punches being busy, but they were not touching. Are you guys see? You saw what I saw, right? Like it looked like.
Did. I will say that there was some moments where Berlanga showed great defense.
I agree.
But in the same vein is that he was so focused on the defense, he wouldn't let the right hand go. And it was just like I said, I text you guys, he's throwing meaningless punches. He wasn't sitting down on nothing. So,
So I was so intentional last night. It's like, sorry, go ahead, Cam.
It's the hesitation. So I'm wondering like how strong is Canelo for real? Because something we feel like we see with our eyes that we should be able to see a right hand come from Berlanga like LT call for an uppercut because Canelo gives you a lot of high guard and he's leaning forward and you didn't see it. I'm thinking he's scared of the counter.
Yeah.
Because if he lets that right hand go, he's susceptible to a left hook that Canelo has just perfected at this point. Yeah. So it's like that psychological battle in that risk versus reward, like letting that right hand go because the one time he did, he got clipped in the third round and got dropped. So
I'll tell you what, though.
I think it's that mind battle though that you see against Canelo's opponents.
And so, I guess I did omit this one fight. There was also a dominant performance against the Charlo brother. I skipped over that one too.
Right. Where he was on his bike for most of it. It was in survival mode, and us as fight fans, we like, come on, bro, like. I was hyped for this to be on your bike the whole fight,
and for the savvy boxing, the boxing fan who's savvy and knows about boxing, you already know Canelo is a master at setting traps. He knows how to walk you down, put you in awkward situations, like Kam Gee said, and then hit you with a trap, whether it's a jab, check hook. He has a sneaky hook with his left, right? And that's the one that caught Berlanga in the third, if I remember. Yeah. And then Berlanga started clapping. I don't know what he was doing on the floor. I'm like, get up, man. Like, or he had to maybe get his legs up, but he was like, hitting his boxing gloves together.
Yeah.
And I'm like,
he made a mistake.
yeah, those little slips and the traps that Canelo gives you, because Canelo was not per se fighting like how we fought, like a bigger Bivol, where he was not doubling up on a jab or check hooking, right? With after a jab, he was actually not respecting Belenga's power at all and walking him down and letting Canelo traded. Belenga did catch Canelo. I mean, he hit him flush a few times, but it didn't seem to phase Canelo. And the more I was watching that fight, I turned my phone off so I could take real notes on that fight, right? And I noticed, yo, Belenga is talking too much. Either something is happening, either he's felt what Canelo's power is like or something. But dude, if you're really in that flow state, you're not talking. You're not doing the whole back and forth. And weird enough, Canelo was inviting that and talking back. And I'm like, okay.
It's a
Either
discipline
Canelo is
fighter.
rattled or Canelo is like, this is a young pup. Let me give him a lesson right now and just dismantle him. And it was a clinic, man.
You see, you heard in this corner, Berlanga's corner, it was like, man, come on, like, what's going on? You good? Like, what's up? We saw a back-to-back fight. Danny Garcia's dad, and then Berlanga's trainer was kind of like, you know, are you there? Like, what's up?
Yeah,
You going?
That Danny Garcia fight broke my heart, but we'll talk about it later.
Yeah. I just keep alluding to it.
Before we move on, I just like, you know, the Canelo cult. Like, as long as he has this following, he has no obligation to give us a meaningful fight. Like, there's no pressure because they're just going to show up and support him his every move, and that's the casual. Right. But that's the support of his country, you know. So as long as he has that behind him, we're prisoners to this moment in history and boxing history. And I just wish that their champion holds your champion to champion status, right, and champion expectations. Right. Because the governing bodies aren't doing it.
Right.
I'll tell you what, though. I give you this much. If you pay attention, that was for unification. It was not for undisputed because he's already been stripped of one of the belts. So, but WBC's not gonna take that. He can do whatever he wants and keep the WC belt.
In this phase of Canelo's illustrious career, do you think he's in God mode? Not God mode. Like I'm saying, like when Floyd was fighting, Floyd was more about you having a chance to be a household name or to pick up the mantle, be something, right? Do you think Canelo is in that phase of his fighting career like Floyd was, or is Canelo kind of capped because he's Mexican? He's a Mexican fighter, and he cannot get like that Floyd,
bro.
Like,
ever since
about the money.
Do y'all remember the press conference where Canelo was like, payday, payday, payday? I believe he was, I feel like he was yelling at Berlanga. That was at one of his press conferences. We might have to go find that. But that lets you know right there that Canelo knows that these fighters that fighting him is a huge monumental payday. So just like LT said, he's going to get the support. He's going to set out the arenas. He's going to have the pay-per-view buys that keeps him on top until he faces, you know what I'm saying, formidable competition that can really challenge him. And as fans, that's what you want. You want guys that are, you know, daring to be great, because ultimately we're going to respect you. You will be remembered as a champion. Now, when we talk about Canelo, we'll always remember towards that later part of his career, he took fights to make money and you know, to pad the stats, so to speak. We'll remember that. So it's just, you know, he making his money though, I guess.
Yep.
Yeah.
You know?
Can't blame him. All right, man. Let's go to the next one.
Let's go.
Swipe on that one.
All right.
Were we all surprised about this or what?
Yeah.
Now I knew.
Oh man!
I knew this made for an interesting matchup, but kind of a plot twist, man.
Man, it's to see. I feel like Danny Garcia got in the ring and realized he didn't want this life no more. It's like it's too hard. It's too much work. I got a family. He's mentioned that so many times in interviews. He hasn't fought in second fight in 4 years.
Yeah, I mean,
You know,
yeah.
so it's
This
at this
is,
point, Will. That's a wrap, man.
I feel like this, and so we have to acknowledge this might be the ramifications of Showtime shutting down because of the Showtime PBC relationship, and a lot of these PBC fighters have been on the shelf. You know what I'm saying? And so I think that had a tremendous effect on some of these performances. It's just as the inactivity.
Mm-hmm. Right. I never thought about that, but the platforms that are available for guys to fight on, you know, those opportunities.
Could you also say that both these fighters at their, last hurrah, and I could definitely see who was going to have a few more miles to run on that last hurrah. I could definitely see it from, I think, round 2. I saw that Danny was not fighting like Danny. Danny wanted to get him out of there. Danny wanted to get him out of there because in my mind, I think Danny was not in shape, or Danny could have done not a deadly fighter like Lara to be your quote unquote get right to business after a long layoff. That's a dangerous fight. If you remember how Lara fought Canelo, and it was a split decision, and that was a Lara who is not a favorite for the judges or anybody. So that's a dangerous opponent, and that's the first person you fight from that long layoff. I could tell Danny and Angel, whoever signed up for this fight, kind of was not a good look for Danny, and maybe Danny wanted that last pay. This is a premier fight card.
I'll tell you like this, because when he fought Jose Benavidez, tough as nails, but after his incident, he's a stationary target. And I feel like they underestimated Lara almost in the same vein. You know what I mean? Lara has some slickness. And so another thing is performing at a higher weight class. Like your body, you're putting your body and your expectations with this new weight is different. It's a different fatigue. The muscles different fatigue. Trust me, as an older man, and people twist. I can give you spurts right now. I can't give you LT not all day nonstop like I did in my youth. But every once and again, somebody will twist my leg and jump up in there, and I give them spurts. But after that, I'm like, whoo, give me 2 days to recover.
Yeah, Danny Garcia took one of them. Whoo, in this fight, because I mean, he's one of my favorite fighters of this generation. I've always enjoyed Danny Garcia. So, I mean, I feel like I was just psychologically evaluating him watching the fight. Like, I'm like, man, I feel like he just checked out. Like his dad saw it. There was a moment, and I always love the camera in the corner between the rounds, because you can kind of feel the energy of the fight, like momentum swings, or how fighters are responding to the previous round. And Danny Garcia had a dead look in his eyes the round before. In the next round, his dad noticed it, said something, and then ultimately ended up calling the fight the next round. So it had been building. It had been building up.
See,
it's like that Roberto Duran moment.
Yeah, the nomad. Yep. Like,
but the dad saw it. Danny Garcia didn't make any emotion to the stoppage. He was just like,
even when the referee walked over to that corner, they asked Danny, and you know what Danny said? Dad, what do you think? Dad was like, nah. And that moment right there is heartbreaking, especially when not in but as a fan way, right? When you see the rise of a star, right? You see Danny, to me, had one of the best chins in that division, or in the, he's never been put down. I've never seen Danny in a point where he's staggering or he's in trouble, because he's
What did y'all got? What did you see? Like in that moment, what did you see in that moment?
I saw Danny, not Danny. I saw Danny questioning that he had been put down in the 9th. I saw Danny walking back to his corner, confused. I saw his dad saying, Angel saying, yeah, you got it, you still got you. You feel And then the referee walked over. Do you want to continue? Are you good? Because Danny
What
said
about
that
the manner? Like the manner that he went down in. Like it was, I
defeated.
rewound it like three. I rewound it 3 times, and I still am not sure. Like, is this? What do you think? Was it like a delay from the body punch that happened? You know, because he moved from the left side of the screen and to the right side of the screen, and one landed. But I'm like, the one that landed, it didn't seem to me. It didn't seem like that caused that reaction. I don't know. Maybe
no, it didn't, but his face, he took like a long blink in that moment. And I was a lot of times that tells you something happened, like you could question like something like neurologically or something like that. Like something happened when you take a long blink, you know, and guys can see that, you know, because they're trained to focus on very small details. You do, your guy does that. He gets up, his opponent already knows I got him hurt for real.
Yeah.
You know, I got him hurt for real.
That's probably how Tool was looking the other day. In one of them shots.
Man. I mean that you're not lying. You're not lying. Because that's what happens. You were concussed and you need a moment to calibrate yourself.
Yeah. In that moment, I was watching the fight and I was just trying to find a way to explain how I felt, right? And I went back to my archives in my brain and I'm like, yo, this reminds me of Shawn Michaels about to kick chin music, Ric Flair. And he said, you know, when you're about to take out a legend, right? And he said, I respect you or something. He whispered that and then he took him out. Like that was like destroying a legend. I just saw a legend go down. And it's happened before. I've seen this happen so many times. But it's also like a celebration time for a Danny Swift Garcia to endeavor in something else, man. Like, you know, you don't have to really push it. Like that was a tough fight. Yes, boxers are gonna be stubborn. We saw it with Bernard Hopkins. We've seen it with Roy Jones Jr. I wish Roy Jones stopped fighting after that second Taliver fight. I wish he had not fought after that. He would be one of the best, probably the greatest of all time. But
hey,
I don't know.
He still is. He still is, man.
You know, if
he still is.
If he had retired,
look, to go back to the fight, Lara has like 4 or 5 knockouts in a row. He stopped 4 or 5 in the last opponent. So even though he's in the latter part of his career, he is still putting on. So you gotta give me
somebody pointed out too. I don't know if it was on the broadcast, but they pointed out like when you look at those older fighters, him, Usyk, is like 4 out of the 5 that are in that senior category. They're all southpaws.
Very difficult. Yes.
So that style can extend your shelf life.
Yeah. Hey, he out here doing it. Stopping guys in his.
Again, 40s. You know, I don't know. This is kind of like conspiracy theory, but I heard about Cuban fighters getting the extra sauce when they're young. You know, like the Lionel. I know Lionel Messi is Argentinian, but
don't point that out though, because once you start pointing the fact out that he's Cuban, you know, Lara might actually be 45 and not 40. You know what I'm saying?
Like King Kong. Like you never know. Like built in a lab somewhere. You know, like your Lionel Messi. Lionel Messi's Argentinian, but the same thing applies. Like they're built to win amateur Olympics. Like they're the best amateur fighters out here, the Cubans. Like they're different. They're different. They're just different. But salute to Lara.
Yeah, we gave Danny his flowers last week, so you know.
Yeah. Shocking.
Salute to Lara. Now this one was electric.
Oh yeah.
I have a clip I want to share with the audience though. And this was extracted.
Had any of us seen McCombie before this fight? Like before the press conference?
No.
I have respect for this dude. This was a dope fight. I respect this dude. I didn't know how much fun. Dope. Great fight.
He's got serious punching power.
Not power. When he hit him with the body. Okay, I don't want to get into it, but like that body, I was like, okay. Never
No,
seen
let's get
Yeah.
into it. Like, you know, we set up the clip. I mean, like that dude is dangerous.
Let's see what this is hand selected from Caleb Plant's Instagram, so it's gonna be a little biased. He's gonna show you the last minutes when he had him on the ropes, but let's go into it.
Left hook to the body, left uppercut, right hook. A beautiful combination, Joe, by Plant.
And Plant's so smart. He gets under that counter hook every time. He's not going to be waiting to Ooh, he's hurting.
Big punch. Oh, but again, McCumbee says, therefore on the bell. And the referee stopped the fight. Did the referee
And that's all she wrote.
Sweet.
I finished right there, man.
So we gave Caleb mad props in previous episodes.
He needs more.
Let's point out the fact that he had a change in trainers. Did y'all peep that?
No.
Breadman. He got Breadman in the corner now.
Word. I didn't know that. And did you notice his whole theme is revenge tour? Yo, I like Caleb, man. I like Caleb.
He fought a smart fight. He had to make an adjustment.
Yeah.
Like pushing at one point, I can't remember what round, but to push him on the ropes, and after he was hurt, he got hurt without a hook. He really should have been a knockdown. He immediately goes to push him, coming back on his back foot, putting him on the ropes, and was just touching him and getting his hands loose and letting him go. And he got to a really good rhythm. I was going for Plant, was a little concerned seeing him make an adjustment, and man, it's electric fight. I've actually become a fan of McCumbee as well. You know, just out there, he got some dog.
What was that? Let's talk about. He threw a left hook that landed on Caleb's right shoulder and triggered a knockdown. At that moment, I was
yeah.
I was like,
I also thought he was just running in there. Yeah, he was running in there like his whole body weight was behind his punches. I'm like, he is not. He didn't come here to play. You know that. He did not come here to play. But hey, it was that was a really great fight, man. That was electric. It was fun. It was entertaining. It was competitive. Like everything you want.
So this is what I'll say. The performance that McCumbee put on will land him on more undercards.
Absolutely.
That is the type of performance that Berlanga should have looked to deliver. Even if you put yourself out there to get caught, you establish yourself as an exciting fighter, which up until this point, like people believe Berlanga to be an exciting fighter because of the results that he got. But, you know, here's McCumbee, had his opportunity in the big bright lights, and he went broke.
Right.
Yeah.
It was entertaining. I love the shit talking and the back and forth and like the goated and all that in the ring. You know, I'm with that. It's just part of the sport. It's fun. At the end of the day, it's entertainment. So
and adjustments, that
too.
Like, Caleb had to adjust.
Real life, like real time adjustments were crazy. There's a lot
of tools in that belt.
You know, I knew Caleb for being a good IQ fighter, and that's what I credit him. And then I watched him closely throughout this fight, and Caleb got good feet. Caleb has good level change. Caleb has crazy combination after combination after. I'm like, oh, yo, Caleb is really, really the truth. He's not just a tough, you know, stubborn, you can't get me out of here type of dude, you know, hey, fight me, hey, you know, that type of dude. Because that's why that's the Caleb we thought, you know, that's what I thought in the past. Like he's hard to put away, he's stubborn, he always has a vim to him because he's always beefing with his fight. Whoever he's gonna fight with, there's gonna be static. He's just tough and very smart, very good. Even Canelo said very smart fighter. But that footwork was ridiculous. The way he was just setting him up with the level changes, I'm like, oh my gosh. And then you like you said, Trevor McCumbee, right? He's level of adjusting and just the way the power was just. I was hearing those shots on the TV, like wham. I was like, yo, that stuff sounds loud over there. Like this dude is hell. And
he just ran out of gas.
It was a beautiful fight. Beautiful fight. Salute to both fighters.
Caleb finally found himself on the other end of that, because usually it's Caleb Plant waning in those seven plus rounds in the championship round. And the only reason I bring up Berlanga is because I don't even see him as a worthy opponent for Caleb Plant. You know what I mean? Like, like as far as performance wise, like
they'll probably
make fights.
If it'll be a fight that's likely to get made, but I get what you're saying. It's like Caleb Plant has rose to the occasion. You know, even in defeat, you know, boxing fans are like, you know, we all have a high respect for Caleb Plant because we know he out there, he gonna put it online every time, every time.
So they can, you know what? Maybe he can go fight Chaco. You know, Berlanga can fight Chaco. You can have another Mexico versus Puerto Rico type. You know,
it's ceremonial bout.
But I love it. You know.
Get a bag real quick.
Have it on Labor Day weekend. That'll be fire.
Don't give him no ideas, man.
Free.
All right.
We'll keep it pushing. I love it. It's action-packed weekend. Let's go. How about this? Cool Boy Steph versus Carlos Castro. I'll start because I kind of had some insight as far as watching these guys, you know, a lot of bouts in out there in what's it called, Carson City, at that open stadium out there. So I kind of seen an action-packed performance coming. But what about this fight happened early?
Mm-hmm.
Oh my God!
Was looking around 7 or something like that.
Boxing made a conscious decision to not go head to head with the main events of the UFC. I mean, let's talk about that. Like you know, they didn't
Cool Boy. I mean, Cool Boy actually was like on social media talking about how he was fighting so early. Like he had a shirt that said prelim gang or something like that. Like I think he was a little bit salty about fighting so early on the fight card, and I think he felt a little disrespected.
Right, absolutely.
And to get in a close bout, which, you know, a lot of us, well, me, I expected a strong bounce back performance. He did get the win, but it was a dog fight. And some people probably could have this one of those fights where you could have had it sway the other way as well, you know, going to a 10-round decision. So, and he got put down.
Yeah, he did.
He got put down. So back-to-back fights, you know, you getting put down. So, you know, it's something to look at, looking forward. But yeah, man,
he actually went up 4 pounds. So we were thinking that, you know, he would return to the same weight class. But I mean, once again, the inactivity. So it's like it kind of makes sense to, you know, I don't know if he plans on fully campaigning at this weight class or what, you know. So
right. I think activity is gonna be his best bet. You know, get back in the ring, you know, find a good opponent and get back to work. You know, I'm a fan of him, so I'm really hoping to see that.
And these are still low enough weight classes where he should be able to comfortably fluctuate.
Right. And sometimes about just getting settled into that weight. So he could be having that type of issue. But I mean, just to see him back-to-back fights getting put down where we haven't seen him previously get put down before at all, it's just you just want to know, you know, take note of that as you watch this career moving forward. You know, when guys start getting put down, you know, more regularly, you gotta have concern like how much punishment can they really take?
Right. You know, there's a tale to be told about fighters that were top of the food chain in their division, and then something happens, either an accident or a long layoff happens, and then they get back into the ring and having to rediscover themselves in this new realm, right? I remember when Keith Thurman fought Josito Lopez, I believe. After that bike, Josito Lopez. And boy, he looked bad.
He got that body shot.
He got stunned in that fight. It reminded me of this one. I didn't watch this live. I watched this on replay because I missed it. It was so early. I had my kiddos. But I was like watching it and I'm like, yo, Cool Boy's not Cool Boy. This is not the guy who fought Monster, who was, you know, stepping on that gas, former world champion. Like he was very cautionary and I mean working his jab, but he was not cool boy. So hopefully he gets better. Like Keith Thurman got better after that Josecito fight and found himself again. But again, that layoff, even if it's a year for that division, a lot of them fight like 3 or 4 times a year, or even sometimes. I mean, I may be exaggerating, maybe 3 at most, but he's not been active. So hopefully this is just a little bit of rust. He pulled through. It's good that not everyone watched it because it would not be a good representation of his skill set because he's way more skilled than what I saw, and he brings a lot more. So that's just me.
We think it's a fight of the year candidate, or
it's up there.
It's
It's
up
up
there.
there. If we had a list we can go through, yeah, it'd be up there for sure.
Okay.
This
Maybe
wasn't
we'll
what
go
we
back.
expected.
That might be an episode for later on.
Put it down.
Yeah, but it was a great fight. It was a good fight. Roly. What do you guys think about this fight? I think we'll spend the least time on this one.
Interesting. It was interesting though. I really
Our
love the
predictions were
yellow
right.
and black. I really love the yellow and black. It was the Bruce Lee inspiration. They asked him what he had been doing during his spare time watching Bruce Lee movies. I love Bruce Lee, so Rolly wins me over again. One more time, he does it.
Yeah.
Oh
But
yeah.
our predictions were very right.
He fought a fight that I didn't expect. He's a little more unorthodox and wild. He also got a new trainer. He fought a little more cerebral, and he actually boxed. He actually boxed, which is something that I feel like I haven't really seen from him. And his opponent wasn't, doing a lot of movement, so he almost was a sitting target. It was a glorified session, but it was something that I didn't expect from Rolly. So, kudos to him. He reeled me in again.
Yeah, Rolly could be a crush. He could crash out. He's interesting. I still think he's not.
He's at 140.
Yeah, but he was very level-headed this fight. Like he wasn't giving us a whole lot of the riffraff.
I mean, but I'm saying though, like Rolly's he's somebody that we can see some of these 4 kings come up against. I mean, let's what's my man? Let's see Devin Haney come back fight.
Yeah,
I
can see that. I can see that.
David Haney's
big goofies.
Yeah, David Haney's been in the ring too long. Rolly may not handle that IQ. It's
man,
just Rolly.
but look, man, he's a common opponent.
Hey,
you know what I'm saying?
Yes, absolutely.
I'm willing to tune into that.
Yeah, that's how it starts. We got to clamor for these dream matchups with Devin the Dream Haney and Rolando Rolly Romero. You already know the 2 promotion would be crazy. I'm excited.
Did you hear about the news on? Did you hear the news on Shakur getting hurt in practice?
Oh yeah, broke his hand.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
that's crazy. So that October 12th fight is not happening, but yeah.
So I pushed. We won't see him for a very long time.
Yeah, because his last fight, when you want to wash off the stink of the last fight, Shakur is somebody that needs a fight. Very like yesterday. He needs a fight like yesterday. He needs to wash off one.
He's finding himself in Keith Thurman territory right now.
Yeah, but people are like rubbing their hands to fight him next, like because of that last fight. Like that injury really bothered me. I'm like, because I like Shakur Stevenson. I don't care what people say about he has pillow hands, whatever. What I like him because he's a great technical fighter, great defensive fighter, great fundamental fighter, and he's a good fighter. He just needs to fight more and not worry about what people say. And this happens, and I'm like, can you catch a break? Like, damn.
Yeah.
When you start breaking your hands in boxing, it is an uphill battle. because he'll be dealing with that,
For
until he
ever. Wait,
stops boxing.
you
And
remember
the sport
Floyd?
where you got to go punch somebody in the face, that is
Mhm.
not bode well for your career.
Floyd did that, and Floyd as Pretty Boy used to knock out people. He broke his hand. What happened? He's never been the same. I mean, he didn't have the same. I mean,
He
I know
wasn't a KO. He wasn't a KO artist
anymore.
A
Yeah.
lot of Floyd's opponents spoke that he had like sneaky power though. We don't really hear that from Shakur's Stevenson's opponent. So he eventually, if he does get back in the ring as an opponent of his, walking in, I don't say walking in, but finding your way inside and just trying to let your hands go might be a good strategy. To test out that power that is it there or is it not? Whenever he does get back in the ring. This is 2025 talk right here. He's not there. It's gonna be a while.
Yeah, Shakur, wishing you a quick recovery, man. We the boxing world misses you, regardless of the trolls out there, man. I like watching you fight. Personally, I like watching you fight. So get well soon, recover, come back better than ever. And as that has been said, we transition to another discipline, which is mixed martial arts. This week, we had the UFC 306 event happening in Vegas, same place. And this happened at the Sphere. And I tell you, fellas, it was an experience for the fans. For those that are going to listen to this auditory, you may miss this clip that I'm about to play. But boy, that Sphere is an experience as a fight fan or people in that vicinity outside the Sphere. So I was going to play a clip here and just to show that experience of the Sphere. Let me play it right now.
They know that guy's got to train. You have countless days of training when you don't want to. All the physical preparation.
All right, for fair play, I'm not going to let that play too long. I want us to get demonetized. But that's from Instagram. And what? This is what we're going to, if my fans are going to experience that, this is what we've been waiting for.
Next level entertainment, man. Like I seen an interview where Dana White was saying that the Sphere is the show. The Sphere is the show. And he was first introduced to it when he went and seen a YouTube concert, and he, at that moment he knew he wanted to be the first to pull something off there. And so this weekend, so he lost the arena where boxing took place, but he gained the opportunity to be the first to pull this off at the Sphere. And they continue to win as the more popular sport, UFC, just the business model, because we've seen the direct effects of boxing taking place and the main event taking place in advance of UFC's main event instead of going head to head. The last time that I remember Canelo went head to head with UFC was he was fighting Danny Jacobs, and that the boxing match was stalled until about midnight.
Right. Yeah.
So they, they coexisted in this weekend, and that just is what it is.
They shook some hands, and it was like, hey, let's get this money together, man. It's to even see a clip, other clips. I do remember them showing clips of that U2 concert that I think opened up the Sphere as well. And I love like the interactive stuff like that. That's the stuff that you think about when you're a kid. And I mentioned before the show about Tron, like the movie Tron, and having that glowy light show going on with this, and then there's a fight going on. But like you said, you're there for the Sphere itself, and I love that. That's I love that cool stuff, man.
All right, let's dive into UFC 306. The big main event is Sean O'Malley versus Dvalishvili Merab. I'm saying that right. But
Good job.
right.
Good job. I mean, O'Malley is a fan favorite, so
Sugar Sean is what I don't like calling him man Sugar Sean, but that's his name, Sugar Sean. Sugar Sean, Sugar Sean O'Malley, very popular in the UFC, very popular outside the UFC, very colorful, has a very popping podcast, an amazing Instagram troll. He's building a reputation that is, I don't know. I don't know if Mickey Mouse likes it, if you know what I'm talking about.
Is he the Ryan Garcia, the Ryan Garcia of UFC?
You know, he's growing, his legacy is building legs to that. As you know, ESPN owns the UFC or purchased the UFC or something like that. So if you representing Mickey Mouse, you better be on your best behavior. But to say this or to not say this or that, that's just my own personal views. UFC is a brand. O'Malley is a brand. Same way as Conor McGregor, he's a brand. So they sit down and break bread. So O'Malley fights. O'Malley gets paid a lot to fight. And O'Malley is currently the champ. And my guy for the bantamweight, Merab, I believe is from Georgia or Russia. I have to do my fact checking. His best friend is a former bantamweight champion, and that's the guy from Jamaica. What's his name again? Jeez, I forgot his name, but he was the former champ. Anyways, long story short, this matchup is mixing oil and water. You're bringing Merab, who's a supreme wrestler, supreme grappler, a supreme takedown artist versus a striker. You know what's going to happen. It's like bringing a lion versus a crocodile. Just different features. Somebody will, bite you and pull you into the water and put you into their element, and you cannot do anything. But what does a lion do to a crocodile when a crocodile can survive on land? It's kind of tricky. Fighting a striker, like, so let's say you're a boxer, right? At least have some takedown defense. At least have some level of understanding how to clinch someone who's trying to throw you down. You have to have some defense mechanisms to keep you in your strongest stance, for lack of a better word, while fighting. But in this fight, it was total domination. O'Malley, known as an amazing striker. If you want to see some good UFC striking, boxing, that boy is nice. Sugar Shane is really nice. He's what is built for. But he was dominated, and as a champion, he went down bad. It was a unanimous. Sorry.
Is there like a CompuStat that keeps track of the style wins and losses? Because we had one of our early episodes, we talked about what style best translate to the UFC as far as the background. And I said wrestling because you can teach a wrestler to strike.
Right.
But I wonder if there's you got categories like Muay Thai versus wrestling, or striker versus whatever, Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu, you know what I'm saying? That would be interesting to see.
You know what's weird? The people that are put on that Mount Rushmore, a lot of them are strikers. Like you look at Anderson Silva, he's a striker 100%. But he does have a level of understanding how to be on the ground and be comfortable on his back, or somebody, putting him in that position. Pause. And even the other greats, let's say John Jones, okay. He is traditionally a wrestler who his striking is really freaking good. Like you can't just label Jones as a wrestler. Like
junior college product, by the way.
Yeah. He's knocked out.
Kid.
Yeah, he's a JUCO wrestler. Yeah.
Anybody that been to JUCO is a different animal.
Yeah. So
that's
he's not really. I wouldn't call Bones Jones a wrestler like per se, because he has those elbows. He hits you with all sorts of stuff on a stand up. And I think he's most suited for stand-up because he's so long and rangy that most of the people he's going to fight are not like 6'6" like him. And he comes from a different breed, man. He's NFL athletes in his family. he's like it's genetics there that play a thing into his greatness. But George St. Pierre, striker, kung fu, I think karate, or I may be getting it wrong, but he's a striker. So there's something about striking that is because you start out fighting standing up. So that's the thing. Don't get taken down. Easy standing up. Israel Adesanya standing up. Necessarily, have I seen a great who's only known for being on the ground? Like I don't see, because if I look at the greatest fighters, you have to look at all their skill set in its own category, right? Izzy has a very low score on the ground game because we never see him on the ground. So he's greatest asset is preventing you from taking him down, so he can stay up and so he can knock you out. And that's the thing that is it's tricky to say that okay, wrestlers are winning at this percentage, or jiu-jitsu at tapping out people because they are putting them in some this because you can submit somebody standing up. It's weird. It's weird, but I think striking is the main ingredient. Like in the streets, you start fighting standing up.
And
it's the thing.
That comes from the Bruce Lee school of training. The Bruce Lee school of training. He was a big believer in boxing. I'm biased to boxing, obviously, but it does allow some transition to some of the other fundamentals in martial arts, just because of the fundamentals you learn via boxing. So to hear you rattle off a lot of those guys is definitely interesting. When you start stacking these guys up against each other.
So if you notice, most strikers don't even, if you're really supreme at striking, all you have to work on is your takedown defense, right? And you don't even have to have a black belt in jiu-jitsu to survive in mixed martial arts. But if you're a jiu-jitsu guy and you've never worked on your stand-up, you'll be like that dude that got kneed by Masvidal. First fight trying to tackle him. Remember? He charged at Masvidal and Masvidal hit him with the knee. Remember that guy?
Flying knee. I remember we was in your living room.
Yeah. Because that guy knows my only way to fight you is I have to tackle you, to put you on the floor and put you in a situation. But how many times, how are you going to succeed if I'm ready for you to do that? I know you're only good at that. So my preparation is just to prevent you from tackling me or from you taking me down. And then if you're standing up and you don't have any high guard, low guard, whatever, I could kick, because now it's not only just boxing. I could kick you into oblivion. So like it's crazy.
We saying all this. Strap, you saying all this, and it might be contradicted in about 2 tickers.
Right. But yeah, but O'Malley got his chain taken. Old boy came and took his chain. It's doing a world tour in Europe right now. It's in Georgia. It's gonna stop by Kazakhstan. Is gonna stop. In respect to my O'Malley, I'm just playing. But your belt was taken. You didn't put a champion's effort into that fight, but respect. It's a tough sport. Not everybody steps into that octagon. Hopefully, you could get your rematch. But salute to the new champ, Mirab. Salute. On to the next one. We had the women fighting at here. All right, we had the women fighting at flyweight. LT, you watched this fight.
Alexa Grasso versus Valentina Shevchenko.
Smooth.
So, I think, if I'm not mistaken, Shevchenko came out. Grasso was the champion.
Yep.
Correct. Strap, get a backstory. You paint the backstory better than me.
So Valentina Shevchenko is one of the greatest female fighters in the UFC history. And with fighting is styles make fights. Sometimes you're good at something, but there'll always be an awkward person that will come to your trap and just do something that you've never anticipated, or your style just doesn't match with that person, and they'll always beat you. It happens in boxing. We've seen that with Madonna and Mayweather, regardless of what the judges saw. I saw Mayweather struggling with this style. Like, however great Mayweather is, he struggled. Maybe the second fight, I could see Mayweather adjusted and fought it very carefully and very. He was very effective on on how his micro movements were working, so he could move away from that weird looping overhead punch that Marcos Madonna was throwing. That's the same thing in UFC. There's some fighters that come and just give your fighter a problem, just the same way we look at in boxing. Joshua fighting the current heavyweight champion right now from Ukraine, Usyk. There's nothing Joshua can do to solve that problem. Physically, his body cannot handle the movement of this smaller fighter, and so on and so forth. That's the same thing as Valentina Shevchenko. Amazing kickboxing fighter, good balanced ground game. But today she had the luck of the draw after 2 fights prior, because she lost the belt to her. Shevchenko lost her belt to Grosso. They fought again. They drew, but the champ keeps the belt. And then this third time, Shevchenko had to adjust and take it to the ground a couple of times. She had so many ways that she took it to the ground and dominated Grosso and ran away with the belt again as the champion of the flyweight. So flyweight division.
I echo that. So it was a dominant performance from Shevchenko. There's no question as to who was the winner of this one. Grasso only found herself on top maybe 2 times the whole fight,
right?
Maybe. And yeah, it's pure domination. Not a whole lot more to say.
Yep. All right, on to the next. We're flying through these MMA fights, but they were great fights nonetheless. We have Brian Ortega versus Diego Lopez. Brian Ortega, well-decorated UFC fighter. He's been around for a long time. He has been a championship contender twice, I believe. Diego Lopez, I'm not sure he's been a title contender before, but he has been around quite a bit. This fight really and truly should have been... Diego Lopez should have ended it quick if he had kept it on the feet. Lopez should have... There were times he was doing takedowns but Ortega was in trouble from the beginning, and long story short,
it was an interesting fight, but I can only watch with one eye, and I was watching it between rounds because it was happening simultaneously with the boxing main event.
Yeah. If Lopez had kept it to the feet and not wanting to take down, because I understand when you're doing a takedown, you're trying to get points for the judges and stuff like that. If you just like, screw the points for the takedown, I'm going for the finish, I think Lopez could have finished Ortega. But, nevertheless, he did win the fight, and it was all unanimous, and he won the decision. So salute to Lopez for beating a legend. Let's see what's next. What other cards do we have? Let me see here on my notes. We have Daniel Helhuber, if I'm saying that right, versus Esteban Rabovich. Am I saying that right? Rabovich. So this was one of those fights where it could have gone either way. Daniel Helhuber could have won the fight, and he had good moments. But I actually even dropped Rabovich with an elbow, spinning elbow. But it's fighting. He didn't do enough by that third round. Rabovich was busy, and he got the win, to say the least. He got the decision because he was busy. He was just reining in on them punches and just being the busier fighter in the third. The judges had to give him that victory. So on to the next. We run through these so we could make our 1 hour time.
I was watching some of this in and out, and it was entertaining. I was just trying to more so concentrate on positioning myself to get the waitress attention, but
Ronaldo Rodriguez versus Ode Osborne. This was another interesting one, following a first round knockdown. But Rodriguez didn't take advantage of that. But when it was all said and done, Rodriguez still won the fight, but still in that essence of like, dog, you had a first round knockdown. There was some tricky situations where Osborne kind of took it to a point where, yo, bruh, you should have finished this guy when you had to finish him. But again, when you score a knockdown in the first round, that counts a lot. And these are only 3-rounders, remember. The main event has 5 rounds. So I believe Osborne was he capitalized the moment, but it was not enough. And Ronaldo won the fight. So salute to both fighters. Luckily, both fighters came out safe and good. And you know, they're able to come back and fight another day. But those were lead ups as we have reached to that moment of almost conclusion. I don't want to just conclude like that because I wanted to bring in a question before we conclude.
We almost didn't do another live.
We may have to do another live because we have so
when
much.
is the because light heavyweight this week?
We got Anthony Joshua versus Daniel Dubois.
Okay, all right.
Coming up this weekend on the 21st.
Yeah, but
So
in the wait as we lead up to that, and we could, you know what? Yeah, we need to maybe we could set up another meeting and do another live, fellas, if that allows your schedule.
Yeah, we'll talk about it.
yeah.
But in the meantime, in the interim, right? Conversations have been moving around that people want to see Pereira versus Jones. What do you guys think as we conclude this episode?
Who wouldn't? Why not?
Yeah, I'm in. Yes.
Like it's the UFC, and the UFC is gonna feed. They're gonna feed their legends and their champions, and just gladiator style, and put them in the arena. It's like ancient Rome. It's literally like ancient Rome.
Yeah.
So it's not far fetched at all. Like, heck yeah, give it
That
to
would
them.
be blockbuster because really and truly, both of these guys, Pereira, if he does it in the heavyweight, he'll be a 3-division. If he beats Jones, that is, he'll be a 3-division champion. That solidifies him as the GOAT.
Yeah.
Jones, on the other hand, he's a 2-division heavyweight, 2 times light heavyweight, and then 1 time he beat Cyril Gane for the heavyweight. So Jones, right now, pound for pound, probably the greatest. If Pereira and him fight, that's fireworks. And hey,
most definitely, I'm tuning in.
Dana White, give the fans what they want. It's been another great episode of Who's Fighting.
Yes,
We
sir.
try to squeeze the weekend action-packed events all into 1 hour capsule, but we were 2 minutes past. But it is what it is. I believe the fans are going to enjoy it. LT, Kam Gee.
We did a good job, man. We squeezed it in there.
Yeah,
Shout out to the 3 people. Shout out to the 3 people that came in. Some people in and out, you know what I mean?
Hey,
Yeah.
Tell a friend and tell a friend.
come holla. Holla.
And just like that, we just had a good episode, and we out. Peace.
Who's fighting?
Who's fighting?